Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of Superhero Speak.
But I think many of the people that love this character and that love superheroes in general have used these stories as inspiration to say, you know what, I'm going to do something good in the world. I'm going to make a difference like my hero when I was a kid.
That is my fondest memory of it, because when you're doing comic books, you want them to affect people.
Right.
You want people to care. You want to strike emotions. And I knew that Clone Saga was striking a lot of emotions.
Can you imagine Pulp Fiction starring Goofy and Mickey Mouse?
I can totally imagine that.
I'm sure somebody's written that one
quarter
too.
pounder with cheese and France, Mickey. What? Boy ale with cheese, Mickey. Yeah, I can totally.
See?
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Yes, I gladly sacrifice that my progeny to you, almighty Marvel beast.
But Neil Adams is somewhere going, it's my time.
How do you measure success?
Hey everyone, and welcome to the worst idea that JD has ever had. This is Superhero Speak, and I'm your host, Dave.
And John.
I'm the bore of bad ideas. Dave's right. Usually it's fun. Not this week.
What did we do to you, man?
Taking the L. I thought you were going to hang out with me tonight. No? See, even the kid left. He wants nothing to do with Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. Do not blame him.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, we're talking about the original Dungeons and Dragons movie, not the good one. What did you think of the first of the Dungeons and Dragons movie we saw at the movies?
Good.
Good? Yeah.
I thought so too.
You're not going to stay?
I'm gonna go with Mom, okay?
You're going to stay with Mom? Okay.
Yeah.
That lasted 1 minute.
That's the thing to do. Run from this movie.
He'd rather hang out with Mom than stay and listen to
Mom just
about
had
this
bladder surgery, so
he'd rather hang out with Mom with bladder surgery
yes,
than listen to this.
Then discuss this movie, or listen to me discuss this movie. And you know what? He's right. It's going to be the worst show we've ever done.
That's not true. Like I said,
It's all my fault.
I found lots of really interesting notes about this thing.
Normally I would tease about that, but I'm all ears. I got absolutely nothing. What a steaming piece of shit this was.
All right, we're giving it all away at the top of the show here. We gotta hold back a little bit. So
We're obviously talking about the last episode of The Mandalorian.
Guess who caught up on the Mandalorian?
Oh,
all
really?
right, before we get to all the fun stuff, how is everyone doing this week? John,
Before we get to the fun stuff, let's talk about ourselves.
I see you already taking a shot of bourbon.
Yeah, it's been that kind of week. I got moved to another new group, and I'm in the middle of trying to deal with new hire and figure out my fourth manager in 1 year, and that's considering that 8 months of that last year I didn't have a manager at all. It's been lots of fun. And then you made me watch this. God, no wonder I can't get a date.
All right then. JD, how about you?
Uneventful week, which was great. Trying to think of what happened. Nothing really. My wrestling podcast, which was Brace for Impact, where we covered the seventh most important show in professional wrestling every week, got rebranded. It is no longer called Brace for Impact. It is now the Mike and JD show, which is great for my ego. And we did the most downloads we've ever done. We might do the most downloads the network's ever done. We got to interview actually a WWE employee who does not want to be named. In fact, this is like my WWE source, and I don't know who he is. He goes by a pseudonym, and I asked him on the pod, he said, well, how am I going to keep myself secret? I said, wear a mask, and I will distort your voice. And I did it, and it worked. We gave him a whole distorted voice, and he wore a mask, and it's doing very well. Very, very proud of it. So the relaunch of the wrestling pod went swimmingly. Super happy. And I don't have to watch the shitty seventh best wrestling show on television anymore, which I hated. So that's good.
Nice.
I don't know. I think that's kind of clever. Seventh most important.
Well, if I thought of that when I was doing the show, that'd have been way funnier. But I just thought of it right now. So Here we are.
John, don't start dates talking about D&D. That is from Drew. Hi, Drew.
Yeah, but then I'll never find the right person.
I got to try the
And here,
mask
and here we
distorted
are.
voice.
Yeah,
when
I know,
show
right?
up on the
But
show.
you know,
Ray, you would eat this up. Ray, I invite you to watch this stream that we did. I think you will be remarkably entertained by it because I was doing it. It's the best pod I've ever done outside of this show. So I was really happy with it.
Cool. Yeah. And thank you for that, JD. You don't have to stroke our egos.
Okay, then I won't. It's the best pod that I've ever done.
But
very good, sir.
But this week, speaking of stroking our egos,
oh, thank God you said egos. I was like, this isn't that kind of.
Jesus
This is
Christ.
not chatter. This is not chatterbait, man.
No.
we hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Yay!
Wow, those bots are really doing their work, huh?
Good.
No, don't say that because someone did accuse us of that. No, this is not bots. So
Who said
we've
that?
been on for. I wouldn't be surprised. We've been on for 10 years. 10 years every week.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I have been paying to advertise the show, but like every show does that. That is,
What's wrong with paying to advertise? Everyone pays to advertise.
No, you can actually pay bots these days. Like they're huge bots.
I read that standard story. I know.
But I'm going to say thank you for everyone who has subscribed so far. If you're a first-time watcher, though, and you are not yet subscriber, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button down below. Give us a like and a comment. We would greatly appreciate it. But yeah, it's other than that, and
oh look, JD's dog is going to be the.
I was going to say while JD's replacing himself with a dog, my week was for the most part fairly uneventful. Basic, work, blah blah blah.
Boring. Yeah.
So I have a moral dilemma, and Don's here, and he's calling out
Astro. Right? I was not aware that you had morals, Dave.
Oh,
I'm in a mood today. You should wait till we get to the notes for the movie.
So good. JD's back.
The damn dog walks into the room, leaves the door open, and then starts sifting through the garbage while I'm trying to do the damn show. And wife's like, well, he wants to be with you. He's crying in here. So, what the hell? Continue with whatever we were talking about.
I was saying my week, I have a moral dilemma coming up. I'm kind of curious. I'm getting your opinion on this.
Oh, okay.
So, of course, my aunt and uncle's 50th wedding anniversary is on Saturday. And they're having like a catered thing at my cousin's house. And of course, I already said I would go. But then one of my best friend's father passed away today, and the funeral's on Saturday.
Oh, you got to go to the funeral.
Yeah.
You got a reason to get out, especially if you really didn't want to go. No one's going to say, that selfish bastard went to a funeral.
Okay.
Yeah, and even if you didn't want to get out, the funeral, like, they're not going to hold another funeral. Your parents will have another anniversary. Or they'll have another anniversary. It's like
my aunt and uncle,
aunt and uncle, right? It's not going to...
It's a funeral. A funeral's like I don't want to use the term best excuse, but it is like the most legitimate excuse ever to get out of something.
It's one of the
most
most...
be mad because you went to a funeral?
It's one of the most important social constructs that we
I mean,
have
and the
as a
thing
society.
Is it the funeral?
I think it kind of... Well, for Irish people it is, because then we get to drink and
Irish.
tell stories all night, so...
That's fair.
But
my God,
it is a way
Ray.
of coping. You need to be able to deal with,
Ray,
mortality.
funerals always have the best weed. That is just wrong.
Not
yeah, and
where I'm
the
from,
whole, I'm just gonna say the main reason it's been weighing on me is because it's my friend Dan I've known since 5th grade, and it's his wife's whose father passed away, and I've known her since high school. And
you don't have to justify going to a
no,
funeral,
but I'm saying,
man.
like, when my wife passed away,
Quite
and I wanted to have a night out with my friends, he flew home. He was at work for work in California, and he flew home early so he could hang out with me.
Dude, yeah,
No, go.
yeah, you gotta go. Yeah,
Yeah,
Where's the dilemma? I mean, like, it's just...
yeah.
There's
Just
no
the worry
question
of-
about this one.
I just know what my mom's gonna say.
Dear superhero speak.
So, all right. I'm glad I got.
Send all your moral dilemmas to us. We shall solve all your
Oh
problems.
yes.
Oh, that's actually a good bit. We could do that on the show. Terrible advice.
Terrible advice.
Oh.
I like it.
It's not a bad idea. Maybe we'll start that.
It's
Not that
actually.
we could do any other advice, but
That's why I'm stirring into the skid.
All right.
We'll
And
have
then,
to
of
do
course-
it after I finish my glass for the night.
All right. I'm glad I talked to you guys. All right. So
Relationship advice with John.
Oh God. Oh. Dude, no, seriously. Every woman I've ever dated has immediately found the guy of her dreams at the very next date. Like
Perfect.
I am a curse and a blessing. Cursed for myself, blessed for everybody else.
Right. We don't have any morals on this show. Do not implement change now.
It's fair.
It is. All right. And then the other thing that I did this week, of course, I'm all caught up on The Mandalorian. JD, I believe you are now.
All caught up on The Mandalorian. I just finished the last episode. Holy shit!
And that's the setup before the finale. So,
yeah.
Thoughts, JD, since you're caught up.
And spoilers for anybody listening.
Yes, spoilers.
Do what I do and just bail out. Okay. This is really, I was thinking about this, right? Like, because Moff Gideon is basically pulled a successful hybrid of the original clones, right? Mandalorians, like this is like the ultimate. These Death Troopers are like the ultimate thing that they could come up with. So that's awesome. Effective stormtroopers. Like who thought it was even possible? And like here we are. And I'm thinking to myself, watching this, I'm like, this is the best thing Star Wars has done since like Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, better than Andor. Like, and I haven't watched Andor.
The battle for Andor. I haven't watched Andor. I thought you said Endor as in the battle for Endor. I'm like, yes, that was ass. We should watch that.
The thing I've heard,
you give me ideas. You inspire me, John. You inspire me.
For
the thing I've heard most
reasons.
about the thing I've heard most about Andor though is that it's boring.
I've heard such people either love it or find it boring, and I'm not sure what to think because I haven't watched it. But this show, god damn, is it good? Like,
Mando is life.
Yeah, Din Djarin is the most interesting character in Star Wars. Bo-Katan, and I didn't watch Rebels. I love the Bo-Katan character. I don't know what's going on.
She's always been interesting, but this is
great.
Furthering her story.
Katie Sackhoff's always been really good. Like, loved her in Battlestar, loved her on Longmire. She's really good. And Joey says Andor is the cure for insomnia. That's all I needed to hear. I'm good
That's
where
a shame,
I'm at.
but I've heard it was really good though.
I have heard that too. I trust Joey's opinion though on movies, to be quite frank.
Really?
On TV, I do. I tend to agree with him. That's why I tend to listen to him. No, so anyway, I'm so interested in what's going on right here because I really don't know where it's going to end. I think the Armorer is a spy.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that, and major spoiler: people who didn't catch this in the episode, the Armorer has the horns on her head because it's Death Watch. That was the group of Mandalorians.
Yeah, she might have been part of Death
Darth
Watch
Maul.
originally. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Moff Gideon has horns on his helmet in his armor.
I didn't even notice that. That just blew my mind.
But the Death Watch had horns on their armor because they followed what's his face, the spiky
Darth Maul.
Darth Maul, right? So because when Darth Maul led the Mandalorians, so and he formed the Death Watch. So she seems
Ray
to
says
know
it's a red herring. I don't
It's
know
possible.
about that.
It's
possible.
Yeah, I mean,
they're leaning into it.
It's so well
They
done.
leaned into
You
it
don't
very
know. That's
heavily.
the good thing,
It is. It's so. And I was just thinking about how it made me think about the sequel trilogy, right? And how they lean into, isn't this how it used to be? Remember how great it used to be? And then the Mandalorian comes along and does everything different enough in the Star Wars. Like the music we get is different. It's not the John Williams orchestral over the top.
Yeah.
Right. It's this very Sergio Leone, Marconi inspired, that little, I can't even whistle thing that they have in there. That's awesome. And like, we're getting the Star Wars universe, and now we're starting to play into things that are more familiar. But remember that first season, we really were establishing who Mando was and this new corner of the Star Wars universe, right? and now we're kind of caught back in, and it's so good. It's like everything the sequel trilogy should have been. Ray says it's the OJ aspect, a pile of evidence, but proven innocent in the end. That is not what you were trying to say here, Ray, if you're trying to say that she's a red herring, because OJ did it.
Yeah, OJ did it.
Yeah,
no doubt.
I mean, he
didn't he write a book called How I Would Have Done It? I mean,
it was not published because people came to their senses and realized this would be bad. But he did write that book. That book did in fact get written.
Jesus.
Man, this is the best. This is the best show. To be fair, it was like 10 years ago. What's wrong with society? We used to have like a 2 cents.
It was 30 years ago, by the way.
No, I meant the book he wrote.
The book
here. But we used to watch gladiator games like 2,000 years ago. Like we've always been fucked up. So that's what we are.
I know, but I would hope we say. But yeah, like it's nice. It's nice to have a Star Wars property that's not just following the Skywalkers.
Yeah, I agree.
Again,
and
like,
I've always been the opposite. I've always thought like the Star Wars is the Skywalker saga. You have to follow the Skywalkers. Right. I'm glad to be wrong.
Yep.
Our comic book reviewer chimed in here. Not guilty is not innocent. And he says, "What's up, nerds?"
Chris,
has someone got fireworks going on?
It's my neighbors.
Gunshots?
It's fireworks. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I have my windows open because it's not hot enough to put the air on, and it's not.
Fireworks in the city for what? Like
because it's nice out.
April.
Welcome to
it's coming. It's coming to you guys. You see, I'm wearing a hoodie right now. Yesterday, I mowed my lawn in shorts and a t-shirt. It was 80 degrees. Today, it snowed.
It's supposed to go down the next couple days here.
Yeah, it sucks.
Well, that's good for me because my air conditioner, the new heat pump that I bought last year, it broke on Friday.
Oh, that sucks.
It's being fully covered by the warranty, and like the guys who came and installed it, they came to fix it, and they're like bowing at me and going, "Oh, we're sorry," but it's not gonna be fixed next Tuesday. So it's like 75 degrees in here, and it's only 65 outside. So
it's like 40 here right now. Man, Ray says 3 new movies, only one dealing with wannabe Skywalker. Disagree. The whole prequel or sequel trilogy was all about the sky, like what's to be done with the Skywalker lineage.
He's talking about the announcement.
Oh, the new movies. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
he's right. Yeah, he's right. We're in a better place. We're in a much better place right now.
Drew's excited for the Imperial remnants.
We're there.
It's nice to have a show where I cannot wait to see the next episode.
I know, and like I'm really happy that I let these things kind of add up, because sometimes Mando can be a little bit like it's either like breakneck speed or a little slow. And there's like nothing in between.
All right, let's stop being the ADHD podcast for a second and get back.
Why?
Squirrel.
We do.
Actually, no. But something I wanted to point out. I saw, of course, I watched a couple after this episode. I don't normally watch them for Mandalorian, but I did watch a couple like examining because of the whole thing. The episode's called Spies, and no one's really revealed to be a spy in the episode. So it's first.
There is one spy in the episode. What's her face? Who's like spy?
Yeah, but it's called Spies, not Spy.
I know, and they well played.
And they don't. That's the thing. Is like they do a lot of things on purpose, especially in the show.
Well, everything's on purpose.
And I watched a couple breakdown videos on this, and one of the things somebody pointed out too, which is very interesting. They kind of established the armorer has a special skill in crafting the Beskar into armor that like no one else can do.
Mm-hmm.
So
we don't know that nobody else can do.
How was Moff Gideon able to forge all that armor with Beskar if he didn't have her help?
To be fair, she's been busy. It's not like she had the time to build all this new armor for these new troopers. You know.
Like, and she's been surrounded by her cohorts, so they're not.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, miss the fact that she's.
That's what I'm saying. She's got a pretty airtight alibi. If they throw that at us next week, I'm gonna throw a foul on that. Throw a flag on that one, and be like,
Yeah, and besides, he's on Mandalore, right next to the Great Forge.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's got all the tools he needs. All he needs is somebody competent to form some armor. I'm sure.
One of the other theories I've heard is that Moff Gideon is actually a Mandalorian.
I would not surprise me one bit. After looking at his armor and stuff this week, Starting to think that's accurate.
Well, he did say Mandalore will live on through me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
He does say that.
So
That doesn't mean he should be the guy who
no, of course not. You know, I mean, that's like
he's kind of freaking evil and sociopathic. So
oh.
he needs a lightsaber through the forehead.
That's not a theory, kids. Oh, I
No.
don't know. We don't have any evidence of Moff Gideon's
No confirmation
Mandalorian.
yet.
No confirmation yet.
I mean, it's
I'm
pretty.
sure-
It seems like they're pointing that way, but it has not been confirmed. You could say
Yeah.
all but confirmed.
Yeah.
Oh.
These fireworks are just like throwing me up. I keep thinking someone gets shot in Philly.
I cannot wait to see the next episodes.
Me neither. And it's the finale, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
and then after this, what is it? After this, there's not going to be another season. They're going to tie it up with a movie.
I was going to say
they tie. I guess they're going to tie it in with Ahsoka and Boba Fett and the Mandalorian and what else? Maybe I don't think anything else is happening around the same time frame. But we may see Ezra Bridger and Thrawn. That might be where they reveal him, Thrawn. That would be an amazing bad guy to have.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, that is one of my worries. Are they going to not resolve the show because they're going to tie it into the movies?
JD is being very still. Did we lose him?
The horns on the helm tell it all. Uh-oh.
JD's like a statue.
Uh-oh. I think we lost JD.
We
lost him.
I was going to say that was a very, nice, picture of him. Would have been perfect. He's voguing there with the lips and everything.
I think maybe he's having internet options issues like I did a couple weeks ago. Oh, yay. When you guys weren't here, I was having internet issues, and the co-hosts had to run the show without me, the guest hosts.
Oh, no.
Me and Don have fan booked this show, so, well, it's become a spoiler show weeks early. Okay.
Oh, sorry, man.
I just ran the audiobooks I just into the audiobooks this week.
Just got into the audiobooks this week.
With Heir to the Empire.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Did you
Heir to the Empire
issues?
is like
internet issues. So I also bought the audiobook for Heir to the Empire this week, Drew.
I read it when it first came out, and I met Timothy Zahn. He wouldn't do an interview for some reason, but he did like talking about the books. And he liked talking about the fact that his antagonist, Thrawn, was just smart. And the only way that the protagonist can win against somebody that smart is if the antagonist makes a mistake. And that's what Thrawn did in the end. He made a mistake. He made an assumption that was wrong. And that's the only way he was defeated.
So I haven't read those books since junior high school. So I have them in mind, but I got this thing now where I read it as a kid and I came back to it. I'm like, oh, I picked up all this stuff. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to read Heir to the Empire after I finish The Shining this week. So I'm excited for that.
Cool.
That's good.
John does like talking about Thrawn.
John does like talking about Thrawn.
It's like the third time we've had that conversation.
I know, but those are the books that basically launched the extended universe.
100%. It kept Star Wars. Those books kept the Star Wars fires burning when everything else was dim. Because in the early in the early 90s, there was no Star Wars anymore. It was done. It was a dead property.
Yeah. And then the books started coming out, and after his trilogy, they're like, oh wow, there's good money in this. Let's continue going.
They kept writing books, and then they did the whole Shadows of the Empire media campaign, which was they made a movie but forgot to make the movie. They did everything circulating the movie, but not the movie.
The only thing I didn't like about it was that they kept shitting on the Skywalker family. like none of them ever got to live a happy life. Every
Good.
single one of them
Good.
died.
Good. People shouldn't live happy lives. That's not the source of drama. The source of drama is in pain and misery. Nobody wants to read stories or watch books, you heard what I said, about happy people. Shiny, happy people do not make
I didn't say they
good
had to be
material.
shiny happy, but why did they like
Because
literally
that's good
every
material.
single one of them died. All
Good.
of
Murder
Han's
them all.
and Leia's kids died except for like one. Like
One
one
went
of the
evil.
twins who became a dark
Darth
Jedi.
Darth Cadus?
Yeah, like I mean,
I know. No, Johnson's poor Dash Rendar never got to the big screen. He didn't. Dash Rendar, great character on the N64 Shadows of the Empire.
who knows? They keep bringing in more characters. You never know what Filoni's
Oh,
gonna
Dash
do.
Rendar's out there somewhere. At some point, Filoni's going to go, you know what? Yeah, heroes die. Chris says heroes die, buddy. They do. That's what makes them heroes.
Yeah, but nobody wants to continually read stories about heroes that get shit on in the end. Like, why be a hero then? Why be a hero?
If that were true, Spider-Man would be a gigantic failure of a character.
But he wins sometimes. These guys didn't win, and they all died.
Luke took down the Empire. They had the greatest win ever. But that's what the source of drama is. Drama's pain, man. You know, nobody wants to read a book about a guy who goes and buys a nice pastrami sandwich.
The Pastrami Chronicles.
But they do want.
I have to
they
write
do
that
want
down.
to
That's a
believe
great
that
title.
they're heroes that can.
Dax is the armorer. What the heck does that mean?
Oh
Drew,
no,
what are you talking about?
No, that's there was another. Oh God, one of the Death Watch.
That's a bit bold, Don. That's a bit bold.
Don,
I enjoy it too, but that's a bit of, oh, he says podcast. He says Star Wars is the greatest collection of tragedies in the history of humanity. I don't know if I agree with that, but I see where you're coming from and can get on board with the base of the premise. I don't think it's the greatest collection, but it is a significant collection.
All right.
The X-Men is also sitting there.
Yeah?
I know, but there has to be a reason to be a hero. Like all of those people that
you
you're
get up
saying,
and keep fighting. You keep fighting. It's Batman. It's Sisyphus, dude. You push the mountain, you push the boulder up the hill, and every day the boulder rolls back down, and you got to push it back up that mountain. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. That's what being a hero is.
Right, but it wasn't just them like getting beaten, but getting back up. They all died. All of their kids died except for one that became a. Like
we all die. Everyone dies.
Yeah, but not when you're like 15 years old.
Well, sometimes 15-year-olds die.
One of them died fighting the Yuzavong. He just became a force ghost right there. Like, his name was Ben Kenobi. He was like their youngest kid.
Skywalker.
Ben Skywalker.
Son says heroes exemplify the best of what we wish to aspire to. What we hope we would sacrifice in the name of justice and honor. Heroes are outlined in the suffering they endure.
Damn, sir, you should be a writer. That's beautiful.
Don
says you ain't lying. I think he means the X-Men. Rey Skywalker is a living tragedy, according to our friend 8-Bit Ray.
So's the movie, but you know.
I also like how did Ray spell her name R-E-Y? Or did he just default to Rey Mysterio's spelling of the word? I'm not sure.
No, R-E-Y.
Oh, okay. It was R-E-Y. I couldn't remember.
Yes, there it is. All right, so we're all excited. We're definitely all in for the finale.
Let's keep talking about Mandalorian. We don't have to talk about Dungeons and Dragons.
But I wrote all these jokes.
Star Wars is the greatest tragedy. Luke ended up being the brother of the princess in the gold bikini.
Yeah.
Do you think Luke felt weird?
I'll give you that one.
Do you think Luke always felt uncomfortable the fact that, you know, he was definitely scoping out his sister in that bikini and like was letting his hands slide up when she was wearing anything when he was trying to like swing her to safety? Like, you know, that thumb kind of rode up a little bit on her back and he was kind of digging it in the moment. And then he found out that was his sister and been like, ew, yuck.
Well, who knows? Maybe they're a very progressive society in the future.
Dave just went, no.
All right. Let's do a little social media madness.
Do we have to?
Yes, we do. So I always like to start with the comments that were left on the video from last week. Not a lot comments after the plot. After the point.
After the
Super
plot.
Mario. Super Mario is. This is from our good friend Random Randy Savage. Super Mario is now the proof we can do a video game movie justice.
Yeah.
Now is the time for a Zelda show. Give me the budget of a Disney Plus show.
We've had a Zelda show though.
We have.
It was a cartoon, but
did we? Was it good?
No, it was part of the Super Mario Super Hour, whatever that used to call.
I remember that. I thought he meant like something more current.
No, not
Ray says he
current,
arched back when he got that smooch. Luke, yeah, a little bit. Luke from Alabama.
Luke from Alabama. Well,
Sweet
Tatooine
home.
is the Alabama of the core.
Oh my god.
The outer rim, if you will.
The outer.
Ray actually commented with a bunch of little emojis of Mario, and I just said, "It's a good movie."
I'm offended, sir, by your xenophobia.
Xenophobia?
Xenophobia. Xenophobia. Whatever.
Xena.
Screw you.
Where did Xena come in?
DK Donkey Kong from Drew. I don't know what he means by that.
Yeah.
Oh no, there was a Donkey Kong show. That's probably where they had the Zelda cartoon.
There was a Donkey Kong show? I remember a Donkey Kong show when I was a little kid.
It was part of Supercade back in the day.
What the hell is Supercade?
Supercade was a cartoon show, Saturday morning cartoon show in the late 80s, I think. And it had all of the characters from Nintendo.
Yeah.
I remember Captain N, the Game Master, and that was from the late 80s, and it had like a lot of Nintendo characters. I have zero recollection of Supercade. Ray says we got a DK rap and not a Mario rap. That is
Thank
true.
God for that.
God, the last thing anybody needs is Chris Pratt rapping.
Oh God.
Also, of course, we talked about Super Mario Brothers last week, and Taco Shirt Krillin said, "Movie was fantastic, and I think you all had a good takes." So, thank you for that.
I like the name.
Whoa! Read Ray's comment. This is a good one.
Such a great show, JD.
Yeah, Captain N. It was great. It really was.
Remember that.
For us, us old millennials, Captain N, the Game Master.
Yes, I remember because they couldn't use the word Nintendo.
They had the rights to all the Nintendo characters, but somehow managed to not get the rights to the word Nintendo.
Yeah,
weird. I think that's why it's not available on anywhere because of all the rights. Corporations are weird, man.
Corporations are still stupid about what would make them more money. They are always kicking the fandom, when they should be like, oh, you want to do a show and it's going to be good? Here's all of our rights to whatever you need to use to go out and make a big advertisement for
it. It doesn't work that way with video games, and when all these companies have these different things, and you have to it's a balancing. Chris says Mario was fine. It's going to make $1 billion, accurate. So we're going to get even more video game movies, and they will suck.
Probably.
Well, he's not wrong about that. That's probably going to happen.
Yeah,
because the law of averages tells me that every video game movie but one will suck.
They're at 700 million.
Thank you, Amazing Greskin.
Yes.
Go back to the Zelda show. Excuse me, Princess. In every
Oh God, that's right. It was
Steve Martin thing. Yeah,
it was stupid.
I'm surprised Netflix hasn't tried to do like a Zelda show. They had a lot of success with Castlevania.
True.
Well, yeah, but can you see Zelda as a Castlevania?
I'm saying
that show?
No, I haven't actually. I should. I just mean like
it's
for as far as like
freaking R.
Well, I just mean as far as video game properties go,
Yeah.
Because they're long form, they're RPG video games. I'm surprised they haven't tried to do something like that.
I know,
it's
but
the same fan base.
Castlevania lends itself. Castlevania lends itself to the NC-17.
I'm not saying they have to mirror it. I'm saying I'm surprised they don't take another stab at a long form RPG series directed at children of the 80s.
Right.
They could, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm surprised, and I'm surprised they haven't.
All right. The other thing that we talked about last week, the Secret Invasion trailer. To which Random Randy Savage said, "It's a spy thriller. I don't know what people are wanting. Like what
aliens?
What an ad for Jack Ryan? Does it give you big reveals in the ad? No. then sit down and watch aliens play spy.
Yeah, but you don't want a big reveal.
No, I don't either. I don't want a big reveal. I want a show that interests me, and it did not. The trailer did not do much for me.
I'm interested in it though. It interests me.
I mean, I assume Dave is going to make me watch it, so I assume we're going to talk about it. So I'll watch it.
Yeah, you're right. It's a good assumption.
I know. I've been on the show long enough. I know how these things go.
Also, a little while ago, we had talked about our first look at Harley Quinn as Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, to which Yodi Magia said,
"The heck of a name."
This is in Spanish, but I translated it to, and it goes, "I honestly thought this was Nolia Hazim." So I don't know who that is. I'm gonna imagine it's a Spanish or South American, Mexican.
Dave will now butcher your tweets in other languages on the show.
Yes,
we're reaching new people.
Yes, our audience is getting bigger and bigger.
We're expanding our reach. Chris has a good point. He says we need to face facts. The MCU doesn't work as TV. I think there are more misses than hits at this point. I think there's something to that. Marvel Zombies or go home for me, bro. Keep it up, man. Ray, I think that's going to happen one of these days.
Marvel cinematic.
It is the cinematic universe.
Yeah, Chris is right. All right, and then our last tweet or last bit of social media interaction here, we talked about the Blue Beetle trailer, which JD is beyond excited for.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Tony D. Giamaro, who was actually a guest on this show early on. He's a comic book. He wrote for the Simpsons comics and stuff back in the day. He's been in the business for a long time. Replied with a gif of Dumb and Dumber, Drew Carey's character gagging. I don't know what that's about. Like, I thought the trailer looked really good. And
I think it looks good. I mean,
Random Randy Savage replied with, "I know why we're not getting a Static Shock movie. 'Cause he's a black man."
I mean, it took them a while to do, like, was it Wonder Woman? I wouldn't put it past them. It would make me very sad if that's the reason, because he's one of the most interesting characters they've got.
Green Lantern had a good trailer too, lest we forget. This is true. DC knows how to cut a trailer. We lost JD again. Wow.
He really doesn't want to do this review, does he?
I don't think he does.
Carry on. Play it where it lies.
We'll play it where it lies. While we're waiting for him to get back, if you would like to be a part of Social Media Madness, and so I can butcher your tweets on next week's show, here's our good friend Don to tell you more.
Enjoying the show? Do you want to be part of Social Media Madness? Well, go ahead and head on over to superheroespeak.com. You'll find all the links you need, episodes of the show, comic reviews by Chris, and other articles. We're posting stuff on there all the time. And while you're there, you can also check out the rest of the Geek World All-Stars podcast network. Include great shows like the Pop Prison Power podcast, Colt 45, baby, So Wizard podcast, Fans on Patrol, the Gorilla Brain podcast, and of course, Superhero Speak. Hashtag GW All-Stars, and you're not going to be disappointed. So, make sure that you are commenting on our Twitter articles. Could be a poignant comment, could be a stupid one. Either way, gives you a chance for Dave to possibly mispronounce your Twitter handle. All right, well, I've rambled on enough. Let's head back to Dave and the gents on Superhero Speak.
So that, Don, don't forget to check out the Omega Level Nerds podcast, available on YouTube, as wherever podcasts are available. Darth Don, the Star Wars snob. Oh,
love that.
All right.
So Drew says, "Oh, go ahead, Dave."
Static Shock has always been in a weird place with being both canon and not,
because it was originally owned by
No, it was owned by DC, but Milestone was a DC imprint.
Right, and it wasn't the same universe.
The Dakotaverse existed outside of DC continuity,
Yeah.
which puts it in a weirder place. And I believe those creators had retained some degree of creative ownership of them.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a rights issue. I mean, I know as much as Randy would like to complain that it's about race. I mean, we're getting a Blade movie. No, I'm saying I don't think that's the main focus for not making the movie. Like,
I mean, it could, I wouldn't put it past that. It's not part of it.
Hold on. I don't want to be this guy, but Blue Beetle is a Latino story. So
exactly, yeah. I don't think DC has an issue with that. It's probably a rights issue, and it's probably
a rights issue,
and it might also be a popularity issue. Like, I don't know how big Static Shock's fan base is.
How big is
Beetle.
I mean, apples and oranges. I mean, excuse me.
Yeah.
Apples and apples, I think. I mean, we're talking about C-level DC characters to begin with, both of them. Like Static Shock probably has more accrued interest because of the cartoon, from a previous generation. So I think Blue Beetle, I think they have their work cut out for more with Blue Beetle than they would with Static Shock. Like I'm sure they would like to do that. What's up, Frosty? I'm sure it's a rights issue. DC races. DC just needs to give me my impulse movie so I can shut up. I agree. Let's shut Ray up.
All right, yeah, let's shut Ray up. That's the best thing we could do. All right, so there you have it. We're gonna now take a quick commercial break and be right back with some news.
Did Dave get a new commercial this week? Let's find
Some podcasts are like this.
The bodies of 3 hikers were all empty, and their organs were laid out like a Sunday dinner.
And some podcasts are like this.
You know what? I'm going to tell you why having a large penis ain't always a good thing.
But only one podcast is where you can get in-depth analysis like this.
Like, nah, this is what you saw. They were drunk as shit because everybody been drinking. He told a good-ass joke that made her pussy explode. I mean, no, that made her fall into his chest.
Yeah, that's why everything was all shaking and they were laughing and
because of the vigorous laughter.
That moan you heard, that was just like an airless laugh.
When he said he was about to come, he meant like with another joke.
Yeah, he's about to come up with another joke.
So
he's about to bust his gut.
I'm about to bust a gut.
You are now listening to Call 45.
This is Beat 'em Down.
And I'm Random Randy Savage.
Find us on all your podcatching apps like Podbean or Spotify. And follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Or just go to www.cult45podcast.com.
Also, check out our YouTube for that sweet, sweet video content.
Cult 45, the only podcast that puts hair on your chest.
I like that one. That's okay.
You know what, though? A lot of the news that we're talking about this week is about it's trailers, and I missed 2 of these trailers. Do you know why I missed them?
Why?
Because I'm not subscribed
to
the YouTube channels that had them on there. So if you're watching this right now and you're enjoying the show, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You know, John, you can be as upset as you want, but we there's people out there that like us. Well, me and JD.
Maybe Dave.
All right, so we had 3 new trailers hit this week.
Yeah, it was Trailer City this week.
The first one, it's funny. Like, I saw no fanfare about this. It just happened to be. It popped up as a recommended video in my feed, and I'm like, oh, okay. And that's of course the teaser. Kind of teaser. It's still in production. Is for the Penguin on HBO Max, the Penguin show, and
Max, sir. It's going to be on Max.
Yes, that's right. That's right. We haven't talked about that, but they've decided.
We should talk about. We should talk about that because that's far more important than anything we're covering this week.
Go for it.
You really don't want to do that review.
No, I really don't want to do it. So this week they made the announcement that they finally, Mr. Zasloff, our good friend at HBO at Warner Discovery, has finally decided what we're going to do. Apparently, the most trusted brand in quality entertainment is seen as a border between getting over 100 million subscribers to HBO Max. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take all these shitball properties from Discovery, combine them with what we have gold in HBO Max, and call it Max. So HBO makes us think of quality television. Max makes us remember late night movies on Cinemax that you used to watch when you were by yourself at 15. You couldn't afford the actual porno channels on TV. So, yeah, exactly.
No, please, come on, guys.
That's exactly what that was. So, yes, they're going to call the news channel Max.
Ray says, let's paint it turd gold and sell it.
That's pretty much what we got here.
I mean, like, it's just so pretentious. It's like
that's the thing is they don't. Here's the thing: they think HBO is pretentious because the Discovery people are like, why won't people watch our shitty Dr. Pimple Popper?
Right,
They're pretentious dicks.
But HBO was the best stuff. I mean, like they always had something on.
That is the pretentiousness. They think that HBO is too pretentious for their fan base. Poor audio quality only people.
No, poor audio only people.
Oh,
because they won't know that we were, making that noise.
We said audio. We saw that I went audio quality, and I thought about watching the Spice Channel as a kid. We had the scrambled vision. I'm a perf.
Their price scales are competing with Netflix, and that's a bad move.
I agree with that. It's like, I think they're gonna have the $9.99, which is what I currently pay for HBO Max with ads because I'm cheap. I will watch ads. $16 for an app per month is just too much.
Yeah.
I will suffer with ads. Like, that's ridiculous. And I'm probably going to keep it because I tend to watch the stuff that's on HBO Max. I don't know if I'm going to watch The Penguin.
So what did you think of the trailer?
Why would you?
Why would you let John? What's on the...
No, why would you? I mean, like, DC is still like, we have 3 universes going on at the same time.
It's DC. Like, that's what DC does. I'm fine with that. That isn't the continent. Like, you're the apologist. Like, this is what we are. This is what we are. We have different, like, this is just DC. What bothers me is, like, I don't know if I care enough about the Penguin or this storyline to, like, commit the time necessary to watch.
Didn't we get Penguin as Gotham? Like, wasn't that the Penguin show for most of the time? I mean, like,
yeah. Do we want that though? Do we want to remember that? Are we proud of that? Like,
right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, we already got a show that should have been the Penguin show.
And in the backup universe, you're getting the Penguin in a backup universe, not the prime universe that you're going to be seeing in the movies. It's like,
to be fair, until Gunn and them can establish this, can get this the ship righted with this, Matt Reeves is the primary universe. That's the one that worked and people liked, not just the crazy people. Ray says 90% of people don't have a 166 hertz television set to support the full 4K mode, so no one's paying $20 a month. He's right. They're offering 4K for $20 a month, and that's stupid. Don says, I'm so done with Batman adjacent shows, and I agree. I just want to watch Batman. For decades, they've been trying to get me to watch Batman without Batman, and I don't want to do that. I cannot watch Batman and not watch Batman.
Right?
Yeah. I don't have to watch Batman and not get Batman. It's such a weird thing they keep trying to get us to do. Just show me the fucking Batman. That's all I want.
And yet Gotham lasted how many seasons?
Because people are dumb.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
That show sucked. It was so bad.
What? They gave us Batman Jr. in that show.
They didn't give us Batman Year One, though, right? I mean,
they did not give us Batman Year One. They gave us Batman Year like -4.
Right. So
but Gotham sucked. Let's not talk about Gotham. That was a fever dream. That show didn't actually happen. Chris says, I'd rather have them burn the Penguin coming into power stuff than saddle Batman 2 with it, so I don't have to watch. That's a good point. That's a really good point. Because I do want to watch Batman 2, and I don't have to watch this crap. Ray says, give me a Mad Hatter anthology show. So that I don't know about an anthology show, but I would like to see a cinematic interpretation of the Mad Hatter. I think that would be interesting. Kassan says, House of the Dragon, The Last of Us kept me subbed to Max. Yeah, I can see a couple more great series launched just to keep people locked in. And that's what they need, actually, to keep people like us locked into this. We're not here for Dr. Pimple Popper and all those things.
Yeah.
We actually want quality television. So that's what they're trying to do, is they're trying to really serve two masters. They're trying to serve the pretentious dicks like us, and then they got to serve these people that just want to watch reality TV garbage, and they're a completely different audience.
Right. They should have just kept them two separate.
They should have.
Yeah.
They should have, but they don't want to. But that's not good for them. They want one app that has all those numbers, so they can go to their shareholders and say, "Look, we're competing with Disney. We're competing with Netflix."
But they're really not.
No, they're not. That's the thing. That's why idiots are running this company.
I feel like they're going to lose subscribers over this.
They might. I agree with you. They think that's the key is to give us something for everybody, and that approach never works. They're also remaking Ray reminds us they're also remaking Harry Potter, so best luck to them. They're going to remake the They're going to remake the Harry Potter series, and that's actually not a bad idea in theory. They're going to take each book and have it a season, and have it stretch out for like a decade, so the kids would age and do the books like justice, like because the movies are good, but you got to abridge them. Yeah. So this one they can kind of open it up a little bit. It's bold. It's a bold choice. I don't know if it's one I would make, but Warner Discovery is not really known for their good creative moves.
No, not at all. All right. Yeah, let's not beat this dead horse too much.
Did you guys hear about Mark Waid writing the new Shazam book? And in the book, they're going to refer to Shazam as the Captain.
Oh, geez.
Who's going to break? Because Mark Waid believes that he's Captain Marvel, and it's stupid to call him by his superpower because he can't say his own name theoretically, right? Yeah. So he's the Captain, and that's how they're just going to refer. Like they're not going to call him that, but it's just going to be like that's the Captain. Like when necessary, he'll be referred to as the Captain. I think that's a great move. I do because it's Captain. To me, he's always going to be Captain Marvel too.
I think Chris has a good point here.
Chris, thank you, Dave. Chris says they have enough metrics to know that I'll never watch Discovery Crap, even when it's in the same streaming service. He's right. I'm not going to either. I have zero interest in anything on Discovery. But but here's the thing. They think they got me. They think they got you with the HBO stuff. Killing that. That's the thing. They think that if you I keep picking on Dr. Pimple Popper because how can I not? They think those people will not watch HBO. So they're rebranding everything.
Ray says, I get all my Discovery type programming from TikTok. This is true too.
Ain't no difference. It's the same shit.
But that's the whole thing, right? Like that's the other issue. Like if this was a channel that was just running all the time, you might have people that watched Penguin and just kept it on while Dr. Pimple Popper came on until the next year came on. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like in traditional television. This now we can choose what we watch. People that are tuning in to watch the DC stuff are not going to click on any of that Discovery stuff.
Click on Don for a second. I think I want to talk about this. Don says, I'll never watch that reality show shit, but my wife does. There is a market. Now, here's the thing, Don. I agree with you. I agree with you. There is a market because the Discovery app does decent numbers too.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. Is they have two apps and two services that actually work. Their idea is that if you combine them both, you will get all those people. So what you're going to have is you're going to have everybody funneling into that. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if there's enough people like us that are going to want to stick around unless you have these shows that keep coming out. Like, what is their focus going to go into? Are they going to continue focusing on the HBO stuff? Or are they going to slide into Discovery stuff?
If they slide into Discovery stuff, they're going to lose everybody because the whole point of HBO Max was the fact that you got all the HBO stuff, and there was a lot of good HBO stuff from decades. And they always had something good that they were working on. Game of Thrones, The Sopranos, you name it. Their name was
for decades.
HBO name was always out there somewhere with something really good there.
It was Joey the high standard of quality. Joey says the 90 Day Fiancé universe is better than the DCU.
I cannot argue with that, unfortunately. Yeah.
Here's who we are.
I am so sad about that.
Kassan says all you need to do is not click on it. I agree. If the shows don't get watched, they'll have no choice but to stop producing them. I agree with you. That's the problem, though, is when you have these corporate mergers, the winning corporation is the one who steers the ship, and Zaslav is the Discovery guy. So he's steering the ship, and he's got to prove that their side was the better side. This is what happens in these mergers. They don't quite, like we saw in The Mandalorian this week, right? You got the two groups coming together, and there's interfighting amongst them. And we don't have a Grogu in the room. We don't have a little, whatever Grogu is, we don't even know, to settle these arguments and say, no.
Yeah, no. God, I love that. That was awesome.
It was great. Ray says, it doesn't work. Look at Paramount and Showtime. It's a bundle and it's a fail. Yeah, he's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kassan once again says, I don't think Discovery customers are willing to pay $20 a month for crap shows either. I don't either, because that's a great point, Kassan. That is an audience that looks for deals.
Yeah.
Right? That is that type of audience.
Is that what they said? They're gonna spend 20. They're gonna cost
for the 4K version.
Oh,
like they have different tiers, right? I mean, like none of the Discovery. You're right. None of those Discovery people. Then that shit's shot in 4K anyway.
And I also think that's another metric they'll highly look at. Like, if all the $20 subscribers are only watching the cinematic stuff, the original content, and none of the $20 subscribers are watching the Discovery crap, they're going to have to look at it that way too. Like, we're not getting $20 subscribers with that garbage. So,
Kassan says Westworld was successful, but now you can't watch it. They took it away. That is a weird thing that they do. Is they just take things off the site, like Disney. And this is why Disney and Netflix are both the best. It all just lives there. It just lives there. Like, if I get an urge to watch, I just watched Short Circuit with Andy the other day. Right here, Johnny Five. Yeah. Aged,
Johnny Five.
Everything aged really good, except for Fisher Stevens' portrayal. That did not age very well.
Bullshit, boy, cow dung. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So why do you do that? Why do you take away something people want to watch?
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get 90% of what this company does.
It's something stupid about like trying to drive people. I mean, or trying to get people to sign up so they have like, we're gonna release. Well, Disney does this with their animated movies, right? Like they'll put out Snow White for a time and then it's not available for like a couple of years, and then it comes out. It's like, oh, we're bringing out Snow White. It's a new special edition, and they're trying to drive money out of that. You know?
But they did that when they did that with Analog. A Short Circuit was on Tubi actually. It's free. Tubi's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
No, Short Circuit. I mean, Disney doesn't do that anymore. Like they had that vault thing, and that was their gimmick when they were selling VHSs and DVDs. You know, because it made them special. It was a marketing gimmick that worked great for Disney. But it's now they got this streaming service. They want everything on there. They want you to be able to say, "Hey, I got to get this kid quiet." Well, we watch Snow White. Click, hi ho. Like they want it, and that's why they're the best. That's why they're the best.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the other trailer that came out that I'm kind of curious your reaction, JD, because you love Gremlins, but you
love Gremlins.
You hate this style of animation.
I hate the style of animation.
Yeah, so we got our trailer for Gremlins Secret of the Mogwai. What do you think, JD?
It's not for me. That being said, I haven't shown it to the dude who's watching his Chromebook in the closet right now. That's literally where he's hanging out. He's hanging out in my closet. But I have a hunch because he really liked the first and second movie too, that he is going to like it. So I have a feeling we're going to watch it, but I just don't think it's for me. Like when I thought about what a third Gremlins movie / project would look like, this is not what I had in mind, but that's okay. I've got my Gremlins movie that still exists the way it is. So that's fine. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they had another Gremlins movie, it would be, well, I mean, we can't do the 80s PG with all the blood squibs anymore, but like,
they got away with a lot back then, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Like, you don't expect Gremlins to be anything less than rated R at this point.
I should just be happy they haven't remade it.
Kassan says,
don't give me any ideas.
I hope Extraction 2 is one of the trailers being discussed, because that had my testosterone pumping so high, I wanted to run through a brick wall. Kassan, if you want testosterone, you're on the wrong podcast.
Fair. I actually don't know what Extraction 2 is. Extraction 2. I probably should check that out to get my own going again. Ray reminds us that Hulk Hogan still gets royalties from Gremlins 2, the new batch.
Extraction was a Netflix movie with Chris Hemsworth. So.
Oh, okay. He's handsome.
I dug the trailer. Like, they're definitely going for kids. Like, that's target audience here. I thought it was
Which
cute.
makes sense.
I think my granddaughters would enjoy it. So, yeah, I'm all in for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna show it to Andy after the show.
I actually kind of like the animation style, and it's got James Hong and Ming-Na Wen doing
as
the voiceovers.
Voices. Yep.
So that's good. But again, like you kind of expect the Gremlins to go really, really bad when they, when they're fed after midnight. So not kid bad, basically hand in the blender bad. So I mean, I'll give it a look see because animation, but we'll see how it looks.
Like I said, this isn't for us necessarily, so I'm gonna grade it on a curve.
Yeah, it's kind of like in the wheelhouse of Troll Hunter, I think, which is not bad. It could be a good storyline. So who knows? We'll have to see.
8-Bit Ray says Baby Grogu sells, so will Gizmo.
Which is, yeah. Oh, 100%.
There's a death battle for you. Grogu versus Gizmo.
Grogu has the Force, and Gizmo can't take a shower. It's not a fair fight.
No, the problem is Gizmo could take a shower.
Yeah, he could, and then you have to. It's so much work to make them into Mogwai when you're trying to. What the hell is Grogu? We've never established what Yoda's race is, have we? But I mean, he's a Jedi. He's a Jedi who's gonna be okay. He's a Force-sensitive Mandalorian in training. He's the ultimate badass in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, and who can live for 1,000 years?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how strong can you get over 1,000 years?
Grogu has the Force only in plot armor. Yeah, that's fair. He has it when they need him to. His species is never. I'm aware of that, Don. I think they need to name him.
Well, when he's hungry as well. When he's hungry.
Well, that's something him and Gizmo could go to war on.
Yeah.
He will be in Mandalore.
There's been rumors going around that the Mandalorian, like the title, is not about Din Djarin.
It's Grogu.
Yeah.
It's his story. I had not thought about that. I like that actually.
I don't know. He's got a mech now. That's all that matters.
He does have a mech. That is exactly. I like when he tries to get him out of that. No. Like any little kid totally would have done the same thing. It's Grogu is the most relatable character in television.
I know that says a lot about you, JD.
100%.
Finally, we're talking about Disney and them not making any mistakes. I don't know about this. We got, our first teaser trailer for The Marvels coming out later this year. What did we think of this? John, you can go first this time.
I'm excited. I can't wait to see it. I'm still. They still pulled out a MacGuffin or like a really weird reason to power down Captain Marvel. Because if she uses her powers too much, she switches places with somebody else. But
continuity, sir. Continuity.
I know the Negabands, right?
Yeah, it's Rick Jones.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, and we saw the second Negaband in there, right?
Yeah.
So we know they found somebody found the other band, so which is probably why they're switching places now. So yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see it. I think this is going to be good, only because they have Camilla Khan in it, and that youthful energy injected into this is going to make it fun, I think.
So I think Brie Larson has showed far more personality in this trailer than she did in the entire Captain Marvel movie.
Good writing. She could do it.
The direction, yeah. I think she's being directed better.
The Marvels trailer has me more excited than Wakanda Forever and Ant-Man did. A sentence I thought I would never say.
I think he's right. I liked Wakanda Forever, but I think that it wasn't necessary in retrospect. So I kind of get what he's saying.
Well, it could have been written better, but it was also like how do you deal with his death, right?
Yeah, so. I agree. Yeah. Kassan says the Marvels look bad. I don't know if it looked bad. It felt flat. All of it. Comedy, action, acting, all flat. The only thing that was is a good-looking Brie Larson. Brie Larson is underrated, really pretty. I agree with that. People don't talk enough about how pretty Brie Larson truly is.
How can you underrate a cadre of Flurgans? Like all those Flurgans. I mean, this is going to be. I can't wait to see what happens with it.
You sound like Rosen Island saying that. That's a Golden Girls. That's a Golden Girls joke for you guys.
I'm still not sold on Brie Larson, Captain Marvel. Like, just everything that she's been in, like every time she's on screen, I'm like, ugh.
The best writing she had was in Endgame, and that only lasted for a couple of minutes.
I agree.
You know,
I agree. And like they brought her in, and then they're like, "Yep, Captain Marvel's here." Moving on. You know, it was kind of like.
But she was directed well. I mean, she had personality. The kind of thing when she sat there and looked down at Spider-Man, is like, "Hey, Peter Parker, can I?" Like, that was perfect. That was the way she should be, right?
Yeah. And I don't hate this because I really like Monica Rambeau. I really liked her in the movies.
Yeah.
Kamala Khan was great. I like the Miss Marvel show. It was fun. It wasn't my favorite thing Marvel's done, but it's been a highlight of the things I don't like that they've been doing lately.
The cat is a star, let's face it, says Ray.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm still give us Next Wave. That is never going to happen. Next Wave
Chris.
TV. No. Especially because Warren Elves. You know, I just,
And that's the thing, right? Like, I like Miss Marvel. I like the youthful exuberance she brings.
Yeah.
That's the word, yeah. Exuberance she brought. I think she's going to bring it to this movie, which is kind of what the first movie was missing. You know, Captain Marvel was missing was that fun, you know, that she'll bring to the movie.
It was not fun.
I like Monica Rambeau. They made her story interesting in WandaVision, right? They made her origin interesting, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously we're going to see it for the podcast, but I'm still not. And it's like I hear people keep calling it Freaky Friday in the MCU.
I don't see that.
Because they're switching places, but they're not switching minds. They're just physically changing spots.
But that's, again, like I said, that was Rick. That was okay. Nerd time. That was literally what Roy Thomas did with Captain Marvel, the original not the original Captain Marvel. The Marvel in the 70s, right? Rick Jones, the perennial sidekick of the Marvel Universe, got the Negative Mans, and he would clap them together, and he would bring it because that was his take. That was Roy Thomas's take on the Billy Batson Shazam thing.
Yeah.
Right? That was how he brought that element to the Marvel Universe with Captain Marvel, is they would switch places. That was his idea, you know? So there's elements of that and elements to call back to the true Captain Marvel, the Captain, as I spoke of earlier.
Yeah. I can't take that away from you. I mean, yeah, I think it'll be fun. We'll see.
I think it'll be fine, to be honest with
fine.
you. I think it'll be fine. It'll be okay.
It'll be okay.
I'm so burnt out on Marvel right now, guys. So burnt out.
I know.
Well, maybe this movie will be fun enough.
I hope
that
it will.
kind of reinvigorates you. You know.
I hope it will. I have not been excited for Marvel. I haven't loved a Marvel movie since the last Spider-Man. I liked Doctor Strange. Thor had moments. Black Panther was, it was all right. What else came out?
It's so funny. One of the things a lot of people keep pointing out is when Kamala gets switched with Monica and she's in the spacesuit and she goes up to the window and she's like, "Hey, Nick Fury." And they're all like, "How does she know who Nick Fury is? He's supposed to be the world's greatest spy." And it's like, yeah, but they all kind of became public in with the events of Infinity War and Endgame, like, and in the Spider-Man Far From Home.
Well, he was also wanted after.
That's right. He was the most wanted man too at one point. So yeah, like he's been public. Like they can't sit there and say that. Just waiting for Deadpool 3, says Don.
Yeah. All of us are. Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of movies we love, we've got a movie to review. But before we get to that, I'm going to play a little something. It's not an ad. It sets up the conversation we're about to have. So it's a little longer than normal, but sit back and relax, and this will help fuel the conversation.
In a faraway world,
all people deserve to be free and equal.
the child is not fit to govern an empire. The forces of darkness. You can control dragons. With the dragon army at my command, I can crush the Empress.
dangerous. This has got to be some twisted magic experiment gone seriously wrong.
Have threatened to conquer a kingdom.
What can I do to stop Profion?
If you can obtain the Rod of Savril, you could control red dragons.
I suggest we lay low, let the whole thing blow over, come back, rob everybody. There's one small problem.
Problem?
I kind of committed us to find it.
Let their blood rain from the sky!
Trust me.
I hate when you say that.
Don't touch that!
Kill them slowly.
You finish the maze, you win the prize.
You'll have to do better than that.
They must complete this task alone.
You know, I love the way you track. I'll get Marina, you get the map. How you get the girl and I get a map? We gotta work out some new plans.
I want them found. Do you really think you can steal my destiny?
Be careful.
You too. Now is your time to die. Dungeons and Dragons. You want to play, do you?
America Online keyword. Oh my god, I remember that.
Holy shit, I swear you guys reviewed D&D already. We did, and I had a terrible idea, Frosty. This is, in fact, the OG film from the year 2000.
Right.
So I watched that trailer, and all I could think to myself is, this looks like something...
Bye, Chris.
See, Chris, I get it. I wish I could join you. No, Frosty, you're not going senile. I'm just an idiot who suggested something stupid as a joke and have meant to suffer for it now. This thing looks like something Fox Television would have done in the mid-90s. And it feels like something Fox Television would have done in the mid-90s. And this is even for the year 2000. This was a year before Lord of the Rings. I want you guys to remember that.
And a year after The Matrix.
And a year after The Matrix. We are treated to the worst special effects, computer-generated special effects since The Last Starfighter, which was made in 1984. So
a lot of it looks like cutscenes from some of the early video games when CDs came out and CGI came into the play. Like all of the, I don't know if anybody's ever seen the cutscenes from like all the Command and Conquer series or Red
That's
Alert
exactly,
series.
yes.
But it looks exactly like that, you know?
My dad used to
complete
play those.
CGI green screen background and CGI stuff all over the place and just actors hamming it up.
Oh my God. Jeremy Irons is in this film going, why the fuck did I decide to do this?
He bought a castle. He did it because he just bought a castle. He said this in an interview. He had just bought a castle and he needed to pay for it somehow.
Yeah, fair enough.
This is exactly what he said.
So, here's my first question. Did anyone see this movie before? Obviously you didn't, JD, or you wouldn't have suggested it. And did you see it in the theater when it originally came out? John?
I don't remember seeing it in the theater, but I have seen this several times before.
Several? You put yourself through this more than once?
I'm a D&D
Are you that
guy.
Okay, what was it like when you walked into the theater in the year 2000 when you were a young man of 43 and sat through this? I'm sorry. I can't.
Yeah, right. It was at least 50 at that point.
No, I'm serious. What was the heartbreak when this movie ended for you? Because 2 weeks ago when we reviewed Dungeons and Dragons, you were such a happy person.
Okay.
I just enjoyed the movie. You were thrilled. What was like? Was this like earth-shatteringly terrible? Did you feel this way, like the way I felt after Green Lantern?
I will put it to you this way: the monsters they had in here, I have been through the original monster manual from 1974, the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons monster manual, Dragon Magazine, The Monster Manual from 5.0. The Monster Manual from, or no, Monster Manual 2 from this Monster Manual here. This version 5 Monster Manual. This version, what the hell is my, Core Rulebook 3, right. This original Monster Manual from the original. Like,
you're making.
I have been through all of them. They all suck. Everything in this movie sucks. It has nothing to do with the original Dungeons and Dragons. It was just like, my God, it was bad. Like, it was the most generic thing, and it was done on purpose that way too. Would you mind if I did the introduction?
Randy says, whipping out his D&D dangle.
He just whipped that thing out.
This right here.
He just whipped that thing out and threw it in front of the keyboard. Thump.
That's
a good
these guys.
comparison. It's like the Green Lantern disappointment.
Look, the original Dungeons and Dragons
we know.
manuals from
you're
1974.
Yes. You are the one nerd to rule us all.
See how big my nerd dog.
You are the nerd that nerds call nerd. All right.
So would you mind if I introduce
we call
the
you
characters
Nerd Daddy.
in the movie?
No. I want to know your level of disappointment after this movie. You're avoiding the subject, sir. You were distracting us with your nerd shit. How disappointed were you when you left that theater? I asked you a question.
Okay. I was really, really disappointed. It's really sad that a bunch of guys on a shoestring budget calling themselves the Dead Gentlemen have a better movie than something that had a budget of, and I believe the budget was originally 100 million, but TSR got bought out by Wizards of the Coast while this was being put together, so it was cut to 36 million.
I can't believe I spent 36 million on this movie. It looks like I spent 25 bucks.
I sold 45 million somewhere. So,
I'm sorry. But yeah. Oh, so allow me to introduce the characters. This is part of my disappointment.
So Don says, hold on. Don says I was balls deep into R.A. Salvatore.
Who wasn't?
Shit, which has Brewer Battlehammer, who is the red-haired dwarf. The sports a horned helm. He sports a horned helm. Yeah.
I
wanted to throw up when I saw the cheap copy of him in this.
The dwarf didn't even do anything in the movie. Like, he was just there. I mean,
we'll get in that in a second.
So hold on. I'm sorry, hold on a second. I asked my kid to get me a thing of water. I turned around and I see a comment that says I was balls deep into R.A. Salvatore, and I was like, Don, what are you talking about? Oh, and then I kept reading the sentence, and I'm like, oh, I thought you were talking.
It was either
letting us know things.
It was either that or Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman's Dragonlance at the time. But okay, so here are the characters that are in this movie. Marlon Wayans as Chris Rock plays Ruby Rod as Snares.
Marlon Wayans as Chris Rock. They couldn't
plays
get Chris
Ruby
Rock,
Rod
so they
as
cast Marlon.
Right. Thora Birch as Queen Amidala plays Empress Savina as a wooden board. Justin Whalen as Discount Jonathan Brandis plays Second Jimmy Olsen as Ridley Freebird. Second Jimmy Olsen, because did you know that character was the second Jimmy Olsen on Lois and Clark from the way back when? Anyway,
okay.
Zoe McClellan as Rachel Weisz plays Evelyn Carnahan as Marina Pretentious. Jeremy Irons as Nicolas Cage plays the Kurgan as Proviron.
The Kurgan rules.
Bruce Payne.
Let's do Highlander. Let's talk about how great Highlander was.
I know. Bruce Payne as Discount Billy Zane plays generic villain number 3 as Fabulous. Did you know that the lipstick he had on was made from a particular kind of seaweed that had to be prepared in a very certain way to get that color blue?
Boy, it looked like he sucked off a Smurf the whole time, didn't it?
I just kept wondering why is his lip blue? Like, it makes
I know.
no sense.
It makes no sense. It's distracting. Every time he's on screen, it stops the movie because you're staring at his lips and you're going, why?
I don't know any Dungeons and Dragons lore that has anything to do with blue-lipped people.
They're cold.
So
This movie fucking
my
sucks, guys. I don't know what to say. It's the worst thing. It's worse than Superman. 3.
Okay, so you had never seen it before. This is your first time seeing it.
Oh, first time. First and last.
Oh my sorry. I am sorry.
I'm
my
sitting
fault.
there.
I suggested this.
Now here's the thing. I was always a big D&D fan, and I kept trying to think, why did I miss this in the theaters? Like, this is the kind of movie I would have gone out. Well, it came out December 8, 2000. I had gotten married a week before. So obviously I wasn't going to the movies. I was on my honeymoon. And then, like, so... And this movie, like, I think it was, I think what I saw was it was 45 million was the budget, and it made 15 million in the theaters.
No, it made just short of 30, or like a little bit more than 30 million. It made just short of its own budget, is what I understand.
Oh, okay,
that's actually impressive.
But you want to hear what's really depressing? One of the trailers for this movie was for Lord of the Rings.
Just tell everybody, hey, wait. You're gonna feel really bad about this after this trailer.
know,
You're really gonna regret this decision.
It's like going to see. It's like in the 70s when you went to see or went to see Battle Beyond the Stars and you saw a trailer for Star Wars.
That's why I just played the trailer, because I saw the trailer and I'm like,
it's really bad.
Who saw this trailer in 2000 and thought, yeah, I want to go see that movie?
In a world. Remember when every trailer started with that guy doing that? In a world where we don't know why we're here.
With a strapping young hero with a magic sword.
So I'm going to say that I've seen parts of this on TV. I've never sat down and watched it before. And I just know that I've always heard that it was really bad from a lot of people. That's why I've never bothered to go watch it. And then I start watching it. Thank God. I'm going to say first off, thank God that this is free on YouTube, because if I had paid to watch this, I would have been really pissed.
I know. That's where I finally found it too. Everywhere else was asking me to either rent it or buy it. I'm like, what are you talking about? There's no way. Why would you do it for this movie? Of all movies, why would you force me to buy this movie?
I will tell you why. Because because of the Honor Among Thieves movie, people are interested in this again. Look at the three of us. That's why they're like, oh, we can make money off this again. Not a lot of money, but a little bit of money.
Yeah, except that I had subscribed to YouTube.
I know.
Dave, are you subscribed to YouTube?
What?
Are you subscribed to YouTube?
You mean do I have like a premium?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why we had it free on YouTube, is because we were subscribed to YouTube.
Oh, I had to pay for it because I don't pay for YouTube. I was about to say I felt really dumb.
As well, you should, because you suggested.
Oh yeah, no, I deserve everything I get for this one. This is the worst thing I've ever said on this show.
So I started watching this movie, right? And the first scene with Jeremy Irons and him trying to control the dragon.
Oh, Drew says, in a world reminds me of the Tropic Thunder fake trailers. Yeah, that's what those were takes on, man. Yeah, they were. You're a youngin', so yeah, that was a big thing back in the day.
Yeah.
So I start watching it, and it's this really bad CGI, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, well, it was 2000. Maybe I can forgive it. And then I started thinking, well, wait, no. The Matrix came out around this time. The Lord of the Rings came out around this time. Yeah. Like, no, I can't forgive this so bad CGI. Not even.
By the way, the director of this was the director of this was Joe Silver, who did Die Hard and The Matrix.
Joel Silver made this movie, which is freaking a stitch. Did he really? I'm looking this up just to make sure you're right about it. No. This was directed by a person by the name of Courtney Solomon. Joel Silver might have been connected to it.
Joe Silver did. Courtney Solomon was the guy who put this together. He was 19 years old. He used social engineering to get in with the TSR people.
29.
And they asked him, what?
29 years old at the time.
It said he was 19 years old when he was
born. He'd be my age. He was born on September 1st. I'm in his wiki. September 1st, 1970. He's directed 3 movies. His first movie he ever directed was Dungeons and Dragons. Then he followed that up with An American Haunting, and then a movie called Getaway. 2 films.
29. Okay, my notes are wrong. But still 29 years old, and he used social engineering to get into TSR by telling him he was an economics student, that he was doing something, some such on Dungeons and Dragons. And then when he finally got a good rapport going with them, he said, "Hey, do you want to hear what I think? What I could do with like a movie?" And he was putting it together when Wizards of the Coast bought TSR. Wizards of the Coast didn't want any part of this, and they had first right to first right of selection of the script or something. So they picked the worst script.
So what happened? I'm looking this up now because I didn't know this. Joel Silver, one of the most famous action directors of all time, joined the project in April of '97 with the screenplay. Silver came in and with the vision of making it a TV series instead of a film. And then Solomon tried to incorporate that plan into the project. However, TSR sold the film rights in the original game property to Wizards of the Coast. And despite TSR leader Lorraine Williams telling him Solomon and Wizards would allow a TV series, that was not ultimately the case. The plan was direct change to do a $3.5 million direct-to-video film as opposed to $100 million budget. And somehow this whole thing happened, and Silver saw the writing on the wall and got out because he was smart.
And Lorraine Williams screwed the whole thing too, because
clearly
at one point James Cameron was involved with it, and James Cameron, Courtney Solomon, and what's her name, Lorraine, was they were at a lunch, and Lorraine looked across the table at James Cameron and said, "So why do you think you're qualified to make this movie?" This was after T2.
So he did not do. So James Cameron instead went on.
Did not do the movie. Right. Yes.
He went on to make Titanic instead. So
Right. Exactly. Can you imagine what would have happened if James Cameron had made this movie?
With his massive ego, do you know what a blow that must have been to him? Like that must have just destroyed him. And I would like to.
Right, but Lorraine Williams also sold TSR to, she was part of selling TSR to Wizards of the Coast, which, they've been doing so well lately.
He's clearly Don's comment. Oh, they bought the Spawn movie rights CGI code on the cheap. Yeah, man, it's like watching an episode of Big Bad Beetleborgs.
Yeah, I know, right? Tattooed ninja guys from Beverly Hills or whatever. Yeah.
10 people. Awesome. Later, super nerds. All right, cool.
See ya.
Okay.
Probably shouldn't have put that one up.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. So anyway.
No, he's probably saying we're up to 10 people watching.
Whatever.
It's a Sunday night. I don't expect anybody to stay up on a Sunday night, but you go to bed. It's 10 o'clock on a Sunday night. So,
but anyway,
yeah,
this movie's trash. Yeah. So I lost my place. Where
Lorraine Williams screwed the whole thing, basically.
That's what we were talking about. So she pushed it. She was part of the sale to Wizard of the Coast, and she's a dipshit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Kathleen Kennedy style.
It's funny.
Kathleen Kennedy's better with Star Wars, man. Can't critique her too much anymore.
It was a movie like they set it up to fail, and it still got released anyway, and became what it is. I
mean, realistically, this movie's kind of lost to time, and probably would have been lost forever had the new movie not been successful. I should say.
Yeah, this is what happens to a movie when everybody involved screws up, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Thank you, So Wizard. Yes, tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills. Yep.
Yeah.
To you, buddy. Yeah.
God, I remember. VR Troopers too. VR Troopers was yeah.
Anyway, what was I gonna say? And then okay, let's just say it was a movie with bad CGI. If it at least had a good story and good acting, you could get past that, right?
Again, Wizards of the Coast, they had a better script. Wizards of the Coast didn't want this to happen when they bought TSR, so they had right of choice of the script, and they chose the worst script. So,
what do you think was going through the actors' heads when they were making this movie?
Castle. Jeremy Irons wanted a castle.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but some of the other actors,
Paycheck.
What?
Paycheck.
Zoe McClellan had no right being in this movie. She was too good for this movie. She actually acted very well. Everybody else, Thora Birch was like I said, a wooden board. Marlon Wayans just had fun until they killed him off weirdly. And
we'll get to that in a second.
And Justin Whalen was just, my God, he's horrible. Just horrible. Like down to the, when his best friend dies, down to the knees, looking up at the sky going, no. I mean, like, oh my God, like just the meme. He is the meme of bad acting.
It's terrible. Like, and these are people that know what they should be doing. But again, directing matters. You know, Jeremy, like someone just said, Jeremy Irons, hey man, pull it back.
Yeah,
you know,
no, they just said, Jeremy Irons, let loose the dogs of war. Just chew on every scene you can find.
And that's the thing about how important good direction is, right? Because again, you can have like a Marlon Brando that just shows up, farts around, and collects his paycheck. And that really feels like what Jeremy Irons is doing here. He's like, this is dumb, but I'm getting paid. I like my new castle, so got paid for that new castle.
Yeah,
What a piece of shit.
And the thing is, too, for people watching this or listening, like talk about the writing. First off, you have a character in this movie that's Worf, who does absolutely nothing for an hour and 45 minutes. Like, why he's on screen
You're
makes
talking about
absolutely no sense.
I thought you said Worf for a second, which
No, it's Worf.
same difference.
I also thought he said Worf, and I was confused. I'm like, was that Michael Dorn playing that role? I didn't notice.
Same difference. But you know who played the King of the Elves? Tom Baker.
Right.
The fourth Doctor.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I know. Also, too good for this movie. Way too good for this movie.
I think he was the only actor who actually felt like he was acting in this movie.
Well, no. Well, again, like
Baker,
Zoe
man.
McClellan acted pretty good in this movie too. If you watch her scenes, she's got chops, and she's trying to make the best of it. But you can see the sadness in her eyes.
So Randy says, "Worf the dwarf."
Yeah. Well, it was basically that, right? I mean, Worf was supposed to be this big bad warrior who never gets beat, and he's always getting beaten.
I lost my collective mind when I saw him. Yes, I'm going to say this too. Next week on Cult 45, they are doing this movie, and if you want to hear a more entertaining take,
I gotta hear this.
Yeah, I got nothing good to say about this movie, so I hope you guys find something good.
But then the other thing about the writing was like the scene where they go into the prison to free the girl. Ridley and Snails go into the prison, and the dwarf and the elf stay behind, and like the dwarf's like getting up to go help, and all she does is go, "No, this task is not meant for us," and they just stay there, like because they couldn't figure out a better way to write that. They just decide to stay back, and then. Near the end of the movie, when he's going into the final dungeon to get the rod of resurrection, to control the red dragons, there's just a force field. No explanation, no nothing, just a force field that keeps everyone but the main character from going into the dungeon. And again, the elf is like, this task is just meant for you to do alone. It's like, what? It was just stupid. It was they couldn't come up with anything better for that.
At this point in time, when they made this movie, they had so many different settings they could have used for this movie. I think the reason that they didn't use like Forgotten Realms or Al-Qadim or Ravenloft or Dragonlance or any of the others is because they would have had to pay money for the rights to that at the same time as paying the rights for the regular Dungeons and Dragons rules, the way the rights are set up, and their budget was cut from 100 million to 36 million when TSR was bought out by Wizards of the Coast. But even so, the rights that they did have, they didn't use any, like this guy, what was it, Courtney Solomon? He was supposed to be a fan. The reason why he's the reason why this thing got made. And even so, they didn't use anything from the actual movies.
Just because someone's a fan doesn't mean they should do it, though. Just because someone's a fan doesn't necessarily mean they should be involved in the production. Because sometimes a fan is too close to material. And just based on this guy, I don't think he's creative in the slightest.
No,
Like, I
no,
think
he's not.
kind of a con artist. So
I mean, let's look at. Well, he was kind of a con artist. That's how he got his foot in the door at TSR. You know, and again, used social engineering to become friends with people, and then said, "Hey, I got an idea for a couple of movies."
So
and then somehow got not just James Cameron, but Francis Ford Coppola involved at one point. Like, I think they saw how young he was, and it was like, oh, you know, this would be interesting to work with a kid, you know. But like the most egregious thing in this movie was the Beholder.
most egregious thing in this movie is how boring it is. That's the egregious thing about it.
So Kassan has a question here. What I don't understand about D&D movies is their portrayal of dragons. Dragons are supposed to be super intelligent beings. Why are they always controlled or mindless murder machines?
Okay, this is an adult red dragon. Okay, this is what an adult dragon looks like. An adult gold dragon. This is an adult gold dragon. I'm not taking them out of the box, by the way. They stay in here forever, until they're worth a couple of $1,000. Anyway, that's what those. Now, there were like in the behind the scenes, they talked to some of the CGI artists, and they said that, oh yeah, they made the red dragons look like this and the bronze, but it doesn't look like anything like that in the movie. And I don't know if it's because of the resolution at that point, or the fact that they just cut the budget so hard that they couldn't like spend the money on the extra revs of the, you know, of resolving the actual animation. But
his question was about the portrayal of them as characters. Like, dragons are supposed to be portrayed as like intelligent beings, and instead they're like, why was the choice made? I don't think you have an answer for this. I think it's more of a rhetorical question of why is this thing so shitty?
Right. Well,
yeah, I don't think
a beholder in canon, well, in the rule books, right? Every rule book, there isn't one beholder that isn't a super genius, and their eyes make it impossible for anything to get close to them without being detected. And they've got like every eye has a different power, like ray of destruction, ray of death, ray of this, ray of frost. Like they basically treated it in this movie like a dog.
Before we get to the beholders and that the dragon thing, I don't feel in the new movie they were portrayed as mindless killing machines or easily controlled. Like, I feel like that was just a plot point for this movie that we're talking about now. That
it was, but like I said, they took the worst script. So,
well, it's not like either of these dragons are extra. Could be considered like Smog or something like that, like a cunning dragon. So, oh no, John has fallen down the D&D. Oh yeah, it happens every time the words D&D come up.
Oh, I still got more books.
Yes, John, a question about. I know, John.
Back there. Yeah.
I know. Like, yes, John, a question about the D&D, and he's like, "Look at all this stuff." I'm like, I know. I just want to know about the thing. Like, I get it.
But I will say this.
For you to know that, you have to know this whole backstory. Hold on a second while I pull out One Piece.
No.
I don't need you to pull out your piece on camera.
So I will say that every player of Dungeons and Dragons will all agree that one of the scariest creatures to ever use in a dungeon, to ever have to go against, is a beholder.
Well, a beholder, a dragon, like
we won't even get into dragons. Like, dragons are just
but a beholder, like there's like, you need to be high level to even survive the first contact with a beholder.
Right, and in this movie, first off, the CGI is crappy for them. They don't look good at all, and they sneak by them by throwing a rock. So the next time I play D&D and a dungeon master decides to use a beholder, I'm just say, I just toss a rock and I sneak by them because I saw it in the movie.
And you're immediately dead. That's what the DM's going to say. You don't even get to roll. You're just dead. That's it. You know?
I mean, it's just
every eye stalk has a different power. Like, usually a ray of disintegration, ray of death, ray of
it's
frost.
It's got to be one of those things that, like, when people saw them in the movie, the way they were portrayed in the movie, and like that there's a bunch of them and they're treated like guard dogs. Actual fans of the game must have been so disappointed.
Oh yeah, no, when I saw that, I like the first time I saw this movie, and I remember that. I remember seeing the beholders being portrayed. It's like, oh God, no, that's just wrong. That's not how anything works. Come on.
No.
So
I got it.
No.
Hey, Classy. Thanks. Congratulations for 1,000 subscribers. To that other guy on the show, fuck you.
We
appreciate it.
To put it in comic book perspective, it'd be like saying, "Oh, I hid from Superman behind this brick wall." It's like,
right? Is it a lead wall?
No,
no. I said
regular
brick wall. It's a brick wall.
Is it a lead line brick wall?
No. It's a regular brick wall.
Yeah. No,
made by a very shoddy bricklayer with only one line.
I hid from Superman behind this piece of straw. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it lead straw?
I mean,
right.
I got nothing.
But let's say Jeremy Irons had some of the best lines in this movie.
Oh yeah,
it's Jeremy Irons.
Right.
You're gonna give him all the good lines in the movie. The other guy's Marlon Wayans.
When he's allowed to chew on a script, there is no script left when he's done.
There's like teeth marks on it. It looks like my dog got a hold of it.
Yeah.
It speaks of a generic script where they swapped generic monsters with D&D property.
Pretty much.
Forgot to actually read the background information on D&D IP.
Well, that's the funny thing. The reason why this was made was because of Courtney Solomon. The reason why Courtney Solomon wanted this made was because he was a fan of D&D. I don't know what happened between that and this, but he brings up a good point. Like this does read like like I said, Wizards of the Coast had final say on after they bought TSR, they had final say on the script. They took the worst script. It could have been a generic fantasy script that they took and said, "Make this a D&D movie." That is very possible. I don't know about that.
It plays like a generic, made-for-TV Fox mid-90s thing.
Roar.
And it's funny because I was thinking about that too. What you call it? I even think on Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, and Xena Warrior Princess, some of the sets that were shown in this movie, I'm sure. But I'm saying, I think even on those shows, some of the CGI was better.
Oh yeah, it was.
We got on this. It's like
this is the worst. This is the worst special effects in a major motion picture I've ever seen, as far as computer generated stuff goes. This is awful. It's absolutely awful.
Yeah, it's 1990s cutscene CD game version type stuff.
Yeah,
it's awful.
I'm monopolizing this. JD, you should
I got nothing.
Tell us how you really feel.
That's the problem. Is like sometimes you watch a bad movie and they're a lot of fun, like Superman 3. We had a great show about Superman 3. That's a bad movie, but you got Richard Pryor skiing down a mountain of cocaine, like literally. Like this is just Jeremy Irons delivering poorly written dialogue. And it loses its fun after a while.
Oh, okay. Here, JD, how did you feel about the script?
Bored.
When Snails died.
I was bored. I was bored the whole time. Like I said, like I played with my phone the whole movie. Like it's bad. It's got no interesting characters. It's lifeless. Yeah. It's absolutely lifeless.
Yeah, exactly. Like they didn't do anything
interesting.
They didn't do anything interesting to make you care about Snails. So like when he dies, it feels generic. Even his best friend.
And he really was Ruby Rod in this, by this way. I'm like the way he screamed and everything, it was Ruby Rod.
And then here's my question. The ending made absolutely no sense. Did anyone have anything?
They thought they were going to make a second movie because when Courtney Solomon pitched this, it was pitched as the first movie of 3. He had a trilogy in mind.
Of course he did. And he suffered from the Jeff Johnsiness of like, well, we're going to save all the good stuff for the next 2 movies. Meanwhile, you're killing yourself watching the first movie because it's so goddamn awful.
By the way, guys, there are 2 sequels to this.
Well, but it's not the ones that he envisioned.
Right.
They were direct to video.
Like this is, I have more respect for what they did with the Honor Among Thieves movie than I did after it. Like having watched this and saying, wow, you could take the same property and make these 2 bad. It's like on the level of the Red Brown Captain America, and then you watch like the Winter Soldier, right? Like that's the level of like, wow, like that's between the 2 of them. It's unbelievable how bad this movie is.
Yeah, I don't even think we're gonna bother rating this. It's just
No, ass. That's what I give it 10 cheeks. Jeff Johns, good comic book writer, not a great film producer. Not a great film producer.
Yeah.
Great comic book writer, though.
I guess.
Or was.
I guess you can run Princess, but you'll never run far enough.
I mean,
what is that?
Look, we had trade negotiations in the middle of this. I'm watching.
Hey man, I've seen trade negotiations be far more interesting than this. Say what you want about the prequel trilogy, it was never this boring.
I know and the set design, like
what set design?
Exactly. I'm looking at this, and it's like, first off, why do they have a person addressing all these wizards, but you have to turn to address the wizards? And why is there a random set of stairs in the background that doesn't even go up to the top of whatever it's leaning against?
Hold on.
The fact that you care about that is an indictment of how bad this movie is.
I know, because my mind could wander.
Kassan has a great comment. Another fault of this D&D movie is the usage of the ensemble cast. How can an audience get invested into any character when you have too many to choose from, while they all lack any credible background story or interesting background story, to be quite frank? But all these characters were awful. The prequel trilogy is amazing, classy. We're of different ages. I like it. I don't love it, but it's good. Politics in Star Wars is great. I agree with that. It makes sense. Compared to this movie, it was
okay. But what I will say to Kassan with the ensemble is this is where this movie fails, but it's where it succeeds in Honor Among Thieves. They did an ensemble movie and gave all the characters motivation and a believable backstory. That's another thing. Like the main characters, other than the mage, the female mage, and the elf, don't have a reason to even do this.
Right.
Just because they were asked to. Like
it's almost
she was on the run and she had to go. She had to go with them because it was the only way she could get away from the bad guys.
It was almost like that movie was made by people who know how to make movies.
Really?
Shocking. I know. Bold statement on my part, but I think there might be something to it.
Yeah. So I guess we can end this by saying, don't watch this movie. If you've never seen it, save an hour and 47 minutes of your life.
No, this is the worst thing we've ever had to watch for this show. This is our worst episode. This is worse than the time Bobby Del Rio came on.
I don't know. Bad.
You're onto something. Thank you, sir.
Bad.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up. Let's go around. You have either a recommendation, or did you learn something this week on the podcast?
I learned. I'm gonna go first. That people who don't know how to make, and I believe me, I'm actually guilty of this, so I will say this: people who don't know how to make movies shouldn't make movies. They shouldn't be given budgets to work with either. Right? That's what I learned this week.
I'm still waiting on the Batman vs Superman Ultimate Edition episode.
Oh, screw that noise! I would quit. I'm not putting myself through that again. Trust us, I swear, John could do a separate D&D podcast, 100%. And this is like, he gets more into that stuff than into the anime, and he gets super into the anime.
Kassan says, next, review the D&D cartoon series just to get John to implode.
All right, so for real, I have very fond memories of that cartoon show. I have no idea if it's any good, but when I was a little kid, that cartoon show was awesome.
That cartoon show? The first isekai. The first anime where people go to another world.
I thought anime can only be done by the Japanese, John.
I know.
All right. So you learned that even with a budget, people can make crappy movies?
Well, I've known that, but I mean, like, they shouldn't. They shouldn't. They shouldn't be allowed to. Adults need to say, no, go make an indie film before you do this.
Bad filmmaker. Go back to school.
Bad. No Kubrick for you.
Hit him over the head with a good script.
All right,
or in general, just hit him over the head.
Do you have any recommendations?
I have started The Shining. I've never read the Shining book before.
Really?
So yeah, no, I never read that one. I missed out.
Wow.
I don't love the movie.
Neither did Kubrick, so there you go.
No. Kubrick loved it. King did not love the movie. Here's why.
That's right.
I've seen
King
it.
didn't write
So
it.
when I was a little kid, 9 years old, when the summer that the Batman movie was big, WGN in Chicago did a Jack Nicholson marathon. Like every night they had a different Jack Nicholson movie. So I was like, well, I'm gonna watch all these movies. And I, as a 9-year-old, subjected myself to films like Five Easy Pieces, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Carnal Knowledge, things that a kid should not watch.
Yes.
And one of those movies was The Shining. And
Jesus.
at 9, I was like, well, I don't get this. I don't like this. I don't. And it was like the blood in the elevator. Well, who won't love that? That's great. Spooked me out. And then, like, as I got older, I find Kubrick's work to be very cold as a filmmaker. Like, he's very cold. He's not like, his films are all about the human condition and less about like characters.
Right.
So I've never been particular. Like, it's a good movie. I'm never going to tell you it's a bad movie. Like, it's an amazing horror film, one of the best ever made. I never felt a personal connection to it. And I always avoided reading the book because I thought that I would not be able to let go of that movie while I was reading it. Right. So I decided, well, I have an Audible account and I have to buy something this month. So I'm just going to try The Shining. So I'm reading that and it's different. It's different. I actually got it because like the Dick Halloran character, the one immortalized by Scatman Crothers, who Stanley Kubrick made walk across the street 76 times just to get the right shot because that's Stanley Kubrick. He is actually a side character in It, one of the side stories in It. And it made me think of that when he showed up, like, I should really read. That's kind of what got me to say, I really should read The Shining. So that's why I'm doing it. And it's not what I expected it to be so far. So so far, so good.
All right. John?
I've been people that know anime are going to like hate me for this. I've been rewatching.
I already do.
I've been rewatching Eminence in Shadow, and I'm going through it again, and it is.
What is it?
It's a
I don't
show.
know. What is it?
It's a show about a guy who decides he's a little bit crazy. He's been training himself to be basically Batman, but he decides, well, there's no way to ever, no matter how much train, I'm not going to be able to stop a nuclear bomb from killing me.
Fact.
So the only thing I can do is I need magic. So he runs in front of a truck, dies, and gets reincarnated in a world with magic. And the joke of the whole show is that the whole time he just makes stuff up like, oh yeah, there's this evil organization and they're doing this stuff and all that and I'm gonna call myself Shadow and I am the leader of Shadow Guard. But the problem is that everything he makes up is actually real. Like, so it is the worst kind of wish fulfillment, and yet it is just done so well. Like, it's so cringe. It wraps right back around to being good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna recommend to like people to give it a go. It's kind of fun once you just settle into just accepting it for what it is. And the only other thing I'd have to say is there's a new isekai, there's a reverse isekai, summoned to another world for a second time. It seems to be pretty good so far. I'm still evaluating all the other new spring shows, so we'll see how it goes.
So Kasan said your recommendation should have been play D&D.
Oh, play D&D too. No, seriously, 5th edition or third edition 3.5.
What about new edition?
Those are the two best editions.
What about new edition with Bobby Brown?
No, not new edition.
No, Biv DeVoe. Sorry.
Yeah. No.
Mr. Telephone Man.
There you go. Dave
Nothing
knows
wrong
what
with my
I'm
life.
talking about. Yeah.
And I
Thank
dial
you.
my baby's number.
You guys are
They're from Philly, so I mean, come on now. My girlfriend actually went to school with one of the guys from New Edition.
From New Edition?
My condolences.
No, that's cool.
So,
We finally broke the 7-year-old. He's out of here. JD's face. Ha ha ha. People say that a lot, actually. I've heard that many times throughout the course of my life. Look at that guy's face.
All right, I am Atomic. That's got to be something for John.
That's from Eminence and Shadow.
Oh, I know.
episode
All these
5.
anime names. Like, yeah, it never ceases to amaze me. Is John going to see the Suzume?
Probably.
Suzume.
Probably, yes. I usually go out to see those.
Oh, I just realized that's from Mark. Hey, Mark.
Oh, hey,
Hello,
Mark. So Dave, how about you? What do you got this week?
Let's see. Well, number one, I have an announcement. I forgot to tell you guys earlier. We cannot do Sunday next week. I will not be available. I have a birthday party to go to on Sunday night.
Hoity, you at a party.
One of my friend's 50th birthday party. So we will do our best to do this Monday night. We'll see. I know, JD. We'll talk about it. We'll figure that out. But yeah, definitely won't be here next Sunday unless we pre-record something and just schedule it to go. I learned.
I'll talk about D&D. That's.
I'm good. John, did you see the show about being reincarnated as a dog?
No. Classy, stop. Bad anime person.
Classy, stop, and because don't get him going. Don't get him going. He'll go.
You don't understand
that
that one as a dog. That's whoa. I mean, there's hentai, and then there's that. Holy crap!
Stop. I'm done.
I don't stop. Yeah, just stop. I don't even want to know. I learned that in spite of everything, that a crappy movie can actually still be released in the theater. Like,
yeah, no kidding. That's the most amazing thing. Is this went to the theaters? They must have had such belief in the fandom, because I can't believe this thing wasn't direct to video. I can't believe it.
Yeah. The only reason I think this got to the theater was because it was like a stone rolling downhill at the point where Wizards of the Coast bought TSR, and they had no choice but to release it at that point.
No, like a lot of things don't get released. Like, I guarantee they thought Dungeons and Dragons fans would come out for this. Guarantee it.
Yeah. They thought it was
wrong.
Built-in property, and it was going to be So yeah, that's that. Yeah, I also recommend that if you're watching this right now, that go and hit that subscribe button there down below. Leave a like and a comment on the video. We greatly appreciate it. I also recommend that you can head on over to superheroespeak.com, where you can find the podcast every week. Links to all our social media at the top of the page, and of course, comic book reviews by our good friend Chris. And other recommendations, I don't really have any.
I do have one. I forgot about.
Okay, good.
Okay.
The Wolfstone Saga is on sale this week at all finer media outlets for only $1 a piece. $1 a piece, $3. Pick yourself up a trilogy of books. I had a good week last week. I'd like to continue this week because I accidentally overbooked it where I bought a bunch of promotions, but I forgot that one of them accidentally put a week before the rest. So I had to extend my sale. So go ahead, buy some books. Three urban fantasy, dark fantasy, however you want to categorize it. Superhero-ish books available right now. You can watch John die. Or read about John die.
I recommend you read those books so you can see John die. Or read about John dying.
I recommend that JD write another book so I can die again. How many times have you killed me so far? Like 4?
4?
Randy
4. I got one. I'm ready to go. Randy, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Hope you enjoy it.
All right. On that note, I think we can put a pin in this one for the week.
Or a bullet.
So, as always, thanks for watching or listening, however you're consuming this. And don't let your cape go out the door.